and go over the best tips and tricks in regards to accounting and budgeting. And this is what focus to childcare providers who have been affected, by COVID-19. So statistically, according to the Childcare Demographics 2020 report, there are about 287 childcare centers and about 822 family childcare providers in Montgomery County. Due to COVID-19, all of these providers were affected in a variety of ways, but specifically, they were all affected and negatively impacted financially. The purpose of the presentation is for you guys to be able to have a better understanding of each financial report, to evaluate the expenses of your childcare facility, could be a family childcare provider or a childcare center. Create an emergency COVID-19 financial plan, and be aware of different assistance programs available for small businesses and nonprofit organizations. Like in the case of nonprofit Montgomery, we are focused on supporting and assisting childcare centers, but we welcome both family and centers to this webinar. So one of the financial reports that you guys should have access to if there is an accounting system set up for your business would be the balance sheet. The balance sheet will show a snapshot of everything the childcare center or family childcare provider owns and owes at a particular moment. The things that the company owns are called assets, and the things that the company owes are called liabilities. When the company owes it to outside parties, let's say banks, and equity will be what the company owes to the owners of the business. In the next slide, you guys are going to be able to see a sample of what a balance sheet should look like. In this case, I have 123 Childcare Center, and this is my balance sheet as of October 31st, 2020. All the balance sheets will first start to having at the top the assets of the business. So you will see the current assets, which in this case, I have the bank, which would be what I have in the bank account. Any accounts receivable, which means those are invoices that I have sent out to clients for my childcare center and parents do. So that's what I should be getting coming in. And any sort of capital asset that I have accumulated through purchasing of different furniture and equipment for my family childcare or childcare center. Towards the middle section, you are always going to have your liabilities. You're going to have current, which could be, which is also named as under accounts payable, which could be, when you get the bills from the internet provider, and if you have a cleaning company that is coming and doing additional sanitation and they send you a bill. In here, the accounts payable pretty much compounds everything for every bill that you receive and enter in the system, but that you haven't made a payment for. Then I have a long-term liability, which in this case, it is, I have a loan with PNC Bank, and so far I have used $10,000 out of that loan. So right now you guys can see that I owe them $10,000. So you add what I owe in accounts payable plus my loan with PNC. So right now I have my business at some point will have to pay the $13,000 that you guys are seeing here. Additionally, you guys are going to see the shareholders equity, which is retained earnings that you accumulate year by year through accumulation of profit and leaving certain funds in the business instead of withdrawing all the funds or any sort of profit at the end of the year and distributing it to the owners. The next financial report that you should be on a constant evaluation for your business, it is the income statement. The income statement, it is also called the profit and loss. Most income statements include the revenue and expenses. This is, like I mentioned, one of the reports that you're going to be using on a constant basis because it will show you, you can see this report for an entire year. You can see and compare the data from this year to last year. You can break this report on a month-to-month income and expenses. And the purpose of this report is to show you a summary of the company or organization's income over a specific period of that. Additionally, this is the report where you are going to have a breakdown of all the different categories of expenses that your center incurs on a month-to-month basis. You would want to make sure you have a system of a CPA or a bookkeeper to make sure that your categories are set up properly, not only for reporting purposes, but also for tax purposes. Additionally, sometimes it is good to have different main accounts, and then you can have sub accounts. An example of that is you will have a main account which will be called insurance, and the sub account could be your liability insurance and your workers' compensation. So then that way you can see in detail at any period of time how much you spend independently on liability insurance and in your workers' compensation. And then now you guys can see in your screen an income statement that I have for my center. I have decided to do it for the month of October. Depending on what accounting system you guys have for your center or family childcare, which could be QuickBooks, could be Xero, or any other system that you guys utilize, you always would have a benefit of dividing the different sources of income for your center or family childcare. In this case, I always like to know how my revenue is coming in. In this case, I have separated the parent fees or parent tuition for the 0 to 2-year-old group, and then the parent fees and or tuition for the 2 to 5-year-old. Let's say I was to have before and after care, then there would be an additional line item here. If my center runs any sort of summer care program, then you would want to divide these different sources of income so that you can evaluate on a year period, you know, what are your trends for the business? You know, is it that typically at the beginning of the year, you are going to be seeing more income on the 0 to 2-year-old group, but then when it comes June and school's gone summer break, then you guys are going to see an increase on the summer camp income that your center or family childcare has for the business. Additionally, towards the bottom of the report, you're going to have a list of all the expenses for your center. You are going to see, in this case, I'm showing advertising and promotion, bank charges, children's supplies, computer and internet, food that I buy for the center, insurance. You guys can see that I have divided my general liability and my workers' compensation because I want to make sure I have more detail explanation of my expenses, any janitorial or premises maintenance, which could be include, you know, if you hire a third-party cleaning company or a snow removal, or you know, the people that do the landscaping. So this is where I will allocate those expenses. My office supplies, I have payroll, and then once again, I have divided what is wages versus taxes. Some in some cases, you can even divide what it is pay out to the owners of the business, then the wages, then the taxes. I have postage, Professional fees, I actually have in here a bookkeeper charge, which is, on an ongoing basis, who gets hired to maintain my books. And then I have a CPA charge, which I review my books with the CPA on a quarterly basis to ensure everything is in order and I can do proper tax planning. There is an extra set of eyes looking at to what my bookkeeper has been doing. I have a rent charge, repairs and maintenance, training and seminars, and utilities. So you guys can see all my expenses for the month of October total to $12,639. So then my net income will be my gross profit, which is my income, the 15,200 minus my expenses. So then I get my net income of $2,561 for the month of October. Budgeting, it is a key component, especially in the times that we are and how business has been affected due to COVID. So it is great to begin setting up a plan for the future. Based on the current economic situation and how childcare centers and family childcare providers have been negatively impacted by COVID-19, it is crucial to create a financial plan. The budget could be set up on a 3-month, 6-month, or a 12-month block period, just so that you can keep a close eye on all your expenses, and then you can begin comparing what you budgeted versus what was your actual expenses. As you create your budget, it is important to plan for different scenarios. It is especially important to review and evaluate your recurring expenses, regardless if your childcare facility is open, closed, or at a reduced capacity. In order to prepare a budget for your business, you will need the income statement, which is the profit and loss. You will need the categories of expenses, and you can pull that in 2 different ways. You can pull it out of the income statement, which was shown in the previous slide, and have all the categories of expenses your childcare center, your family childcare spends on a monthly or recurring basis. Or you can also look at the chart of accounts, which is if you have an accounting system, then that's where you will get these different categories of expenses. Additionally, you have a budget spreadsheet, and which I will go over in the next slide. And we are putting a budget spreadsheet template also on the nonprofit Montgomery website, which will include this presentation and the recording for you guys to utilize if you guys see it necessary or would like to have something to reference from. And in here, you guys can see a sample of my budget, which was created by me pulling the income statement, the categories of expenses that I have. You are going to see it broken down on a month-to-month basis. And like mentioned previously, you can divide it on a 3-month or a 6-month period, especially with how times are right now and the constantly fluctuation of possible closures, possible reduction of capacity at your childcare center. It will be a good idea to set up a 3-month or a 6-month plan. The first line item that you guys are always going to see, it is the revenue. This is what I am estimating to receive. If you guys look into February and March, you guys can see that there is a fluctuation and a reduction of revenue or income for my center due to the fact that I am planning to see that some families will leave due to they want to keep the children safe and they want to keep their children home and they feel more comfortable with that. So I have adjusted my revenue to see a reduction during February and March. In April, you guys can see that I start going up due to the fact that there should be a spring break, and my childcare center can accommodate the working parents who now need to ensure that they have someone is caring for their children during spring break. Then May is pretty consistent. June, my numbers start going up because schools close mid-June, and then my summer program starts to be open for business. So you guys can see between July and August, my revenue really goes up because I'm really pushing for summer programs. And then once again, between September through December, I am expecting to see a reduction because there will be less summer program. A lot of teachers go back to work in September. So then I will be picking up some of those children. And then I kind of try to maintain it even. And then December, I see again a reduction due to the holidays. Then you guys can see the different categories of expenses, which is what I am budgeting for advertising and promotion. And again, this number is fluctuating. You know, it is the beginning of the year, so I have set up a larger budget for my center. But then February and March is pretty even. In May, it does increase because I am beginning to promote the summer camp that I'm going to be running. And then again, my numbers reduce and go back to $100 budget until November, because I'm just doing the systematic advertising about my center and what we offer and what openings we have. And then once again in December, that number goes up because it's the beginning of the year. Some families will need additional care. Mom might be going back to work at the beginning of the year. So that's when you see those family changes and situations. So I am adjusting my expenses due to that so that I can market properly. You guys can see a consistent bank charges. Children's supplies is also something that that is being budgeted and is fluctuating due to the fact that in summer I will have more children, so I will need additional supplies. My computer and internet expenses are pretty steady. Food is pretty steady until I get to the summer months for the summer program, where I will have additional children. You guys can see my general liability and workers' compensation, health insurance, janitorial services, office supplies, and then once I get into payroll, wages, and tax, once again, you guys can see that during the summer months, it goes much higher due to the fact that I need to hire additional part-time or full-time staff to support with the summer childcare program that my center runs. Then it's pretty steady when it comes to postage, professional fees. Professional fees typically go up between March and April when my accountant, CPA, tax preparer is processing taxes for my center or family childcare. So I'm planning already ahead to see that I'm gonna have to pay for such charges. The repairs and maintenance, any training and seminars that I plan for my center to attend, and for my staff to attend 2 training seminars per year, which is already included, and all of my utility, which tend to be pretty even across the entire year. In this case scenario, let's say that you guys do have a loan, do have a line of credit that you guys are paying on a recurring basis, then for sure you guys want to make sure that there is a line item that includes, PNC loan payment. If you guys got the EIDL loan, which is the emergency loan provided by the SBA, you will have a separate line item for that, because those are things that you're going to have to pay on. The next slide, I will present an emergency financial toolkit that family childcare providers or childcare centers can utilize to prepare themselves. The goal of this emergency financial toolkit is that instead of being reactive, and once a situation happens and we begin reacting and what do we got to do now, we actually take more of a proactive approach and we plan. So in the planning for this emergency financial toolkit, my recommendation is to include the following. You will assign, 1 to 3 people or as many as needed, depending on the size of your business, as part of your emergency team. This is the people that you are going to rely on, because in times of emergencies, sometimes, business owners have so much pressure on them that sometimes it is good to have either an extra set of eyes or an extra person that is going to support you in case you have to utilize this financial toolkit. But also this is a person that you can work with and put in this entire toolkit together for your business. You would want to make sure that you have the business banker information, that you have, a point of contact, a phone number and email, because if it's the case where something might happen to your bank account or you might go on overdraft mode, things like that, you want to make sure that you have that business banker information in, rapidly available to act in the case of a need. Also, if they have facilitated any sort of loans, and it might be the case where you can't make the payment the following month due to the fact that maybe we're in a stay-at-home order and you lost, the majority of your children. So then you can communicate. You're not, shuffling around trying to find who do I gotta contact now, what can I do, and things like that. Also, you're gonna want to have the point of contact of any lender that you currently have any debt. If you have, once again, any other sort of loan with like a local institution, you want to make sure that you have their contact information available. And then not only that, but that you also have any account information. You want to make sure you have the agreement that you sign. All those things are going to be looked on a constant basis if it's the case where you need to approach your lender, because you need to see what they can do for you and your business due to the fact that you won't be able to make the next payment. Additionally, you want to make sure that you have your landlord or mortgage company information available, due to the fact that when things go in a negative way and affect your business financially, you need to go on reserve mode. You need to try to keep as much of the cash that you have to keep your business afloat. So you want to make sure that you have your landlord and mortgage company information available so that you can discuss, hey, what are my options? We just went into stay-at-home order, or I lost, all the children because we can't have any children. The numbers are going up. So what can we do? What sort of a plan can we come up with? So that's why it is important to have their information also rapidly available. You also want to come up with a list of vendors that you have set up automatic payments or automatic withdrawals, because you might need to stop those in the case of a financial crisis. And then you want to make sure that you have the name of the vendor, if there is a point of contact, if there is a 1-800 number that you need to call to stop any automatic payments, or if there is a login and a password for their portal so that you stop these automatic payments too. You want to ensure that all login and password information to vendor's portal is in a secure location, but also accessible to your emergency team. Look, if I have one more person and said, hey, I'm going to contact the bank, I'm going to contact the landlord, how about you deal with the vendors? Then it's somebody that will have the access, that knows that they can contact and that will have access to all the vendor's name and the logins and password or contact information, account information, so that they can help me tackle this financial crisis that I could face. Additionally, you want to have a list of all outstanding debt with terms and conditions that your center or family childcare might have. This will also include any loans, lines of credit, or credit cards that you might have under the business. And it is always good to know what are the terms, what conditions, what interest rate, what are the penalties associated. Just because that would allow you to know where you stand and how you can begin negotiating with a loan company, with your mortgage company, with your landlord. This is going to help you with that. You are going to want to create a financial contingency plan with different scenarios. So something that you can do is use the budget and run 3 different scenarios. Hey, one scenario will be we maintain to we maintain at current capacity, but maybe we need to spend additional funds on cleaning and PPE supplies. Then the next scenario could be, okay, we go into a stay-at-home order, and I need to shut the doors. Like I have no option. I have no choice, and I gotta wait until I either apply for some sort of permit so that I can serve, the healthcare workers, and then see if that would work. And then another plan could be, hey, things stay the way they are, but my capacity might go down. So those are the different scenarios that you guys can play, and you guys can create different budgets for different scenarios. So then you guys know how you can attack. And like I said previously, this will allow you to plan in a proactive way instead of reacting once things start happening. You will like, hey, the capacity is being reduced. Okay, so what do we got to do? Who do we need to contact? Etc. Etc. You already would have a plan in place, and now you are not so much in a panic mode. Our mind tends to think differently when we are on alert. So this will allow you to think more of with a clear mindset and see what are all your options available. Additionally, you would want to make sure that you review your human resource agreements regarding any time off due to COVID-19. The reason why I mentioned this is you want to make sure that there is a policy in place if one of your employees tested positive and now that person has to stay home. If that time is pay, is unpaid, how does your business go about that? You can always check with the Department of Labor to provide you additional resources, because the rules change depending on the size of your business and how many employees you have. If you have 50 or more, you have to comply with X amount of rule. If you're under 50, there are a different set of rules. Then additionally, you also have to check with the county to see what you have to comply by. So make sure that there is a plan in place. I am seeing a lot of business that are like, I don't know what to do, and they are now trying to figure it out. Or somebody was exposed to somebody who just gave positive for COVID, and now they need to self-quarantine. Is that paid? Is that unpaid? Some businesses are taking it, well, if you were exposed, you do the test and you come positive, we will pay you. If you were exposed and you did the test and came negative, but you still want to self-quarantine, there are all these different rules and scenarios. So my recommendation is for you to contact the Department of Labor on the state level, but also on county level, so that they can facilitate the rules that your business might need to comply with. And as part of the last tip is the emergency financial toolkit needs to be saved electronically as a backup for your business in case of an emergency. If we go on a stay-at-home order and you're trying to limit your exposure to this virus, or could be anything else that prevents you from going physically to your facility, you want to make sure that either you are using Dropbox, Box, these different platforms where you can have all these files saved and backed up electronically for easy access. Additionally, I want to share with you certain available programs that are available to help your business. So in here, you guys can see that I have listed a website with the state of Maryland. In here, you can see any and all grant and loan opportunities available on the federal level, on the state level, and locally available for your business. It is always good to keep, every day, every 2 days, to kind of look and see if anything has changed, so that then you can jump on any opportunity. Like today, they just opened a grant program for restaurants because the county is trying to disburse certain funds and has to disburse certain funds by December 31st to support local businesses. So please constantly monitor this website to see what options, grants, or loan opportunities there might be available for your business. The second option that you guys have available, and some of you might have applied or maybe haven't, it is the SBA is still offering the economic injury disaster loan. And they're offering is up to 150,000. This is a program that it is still running. As a matter of fact, I work with a business. They applied November 1st, and it took 17 days. So November 17th, they got their approval. They got $10,000, which is going to help their business. They don't have to begin paying back on this loan for the first 12 months. And then from there, they can begin making their payment, which is also making it very, very helpful for small businesses who end up getting this loan. The next option, it is the Maryland Work Sharing Unemployment Insurance program. This program was actually and has been established since 1984. It's a voluntary program that provides an alternative to layoff for employees faced with temporary non-cyclical decline of business due to lower economic activity, which would apply to your child care center or your family child care. The employer benefits is you can maintain the productivity and the quality of service. You can retain employees. You can, it helps you keep the morale high on your employees because they know that you're doing something to keep them. And it has a flexibility to utilize the work sharing for the entire business or just as a selected unit so that you can maintain your full staff for future business growth when the economic conditions return to quote unquote normal or a little bit more of a normalcy. The next program, it is the COVID-19 Layoff Aversion Fund. Actually, there has been an extremely high demand to this program, and this is state-wise. This program provides funds to cover for the cost of purchasing remote access. It provides funds to cover for the cost of purchasing software programs that would allow your employees to work from home. It would support businesses that are taking advantage of the unemployment insurance work sharing program. It provides funds to cover the cost of cleaning, sanitizing supplies, pay for liability insurance, any professional training development that could help your employees avoid layoff. And also some of the uses that you guys can give to this fund. The next one, which some of you might have already know, is the Reopen Montgomery County Grant Program. There are different, lottery days, and this is lottery based. And this is to reimburse Montgomery County businesses and nonprofits for expenses incurred to comply with the state and county reopening requirements. If you guys go through the website, it will spell out the different requirements and how to apply and so on. Furthermore, I want to share some additional local organizations that are helping small businesses. You guys have Nonprofit Montgomery, who is actually in charge of this presentation. You guys have the Women Business Center, the Maryland Small Business Development Center, the Montgomery County Economic Development Corporation, and the Latino Economic Development Center. All of these different organizations are here to help your business. I do know that the Maryland Women Business Center focuses a lot on family childcare providers, and they can provide training on marketing, business plan, and you have the Maryland SBDC, who is also another organization. They provide one-on-one consulting for small business owners. And as a matter of fact, they do have an additional department that is supporting businesses that have been affected by COVID-19. And they have a marketing specialist, a financial specialist, an entrepreneur specialist to support your business. And these resources are completely free. You simply have to reach out, contact them and say, my business is suffering. I need some assistance. I need, maybe it could be your website. Maybe you want to make sure your business presence online is there. Maybe you need to see what are your financing options so that you can keep your business afloat until, things there is either more assistance coming in for business. So please do know that all of these organizations are available to help and support your business at no cost. And then couple reminders. If you have received your Paycheck Protection Plan and you were part of that program from the SBA, please make sure that you discuss with your accountant and CPA about the possible tax implications during 2020 or 2021. Create the emergency financial toolkit for your business. This is going to help you to be proactive and not reactive in the case of an emergency. Review your projections of income and expenses periodically to make sure that you are on track. Look over that budget, look where you're spending the money, begin comparing what you budgeted for the month and what were your actual expenses. You have to keep a track on those expenses. Eliminate service, reduce service, and contact vendors. Vendors right now are willing to negotiate with you. Contact your internet provider, contact your business insurance company and see what can be done for your business. Say, hey, I had the business insurance, I had workers' compensation for X amount of employees. Now, I am at a reduced capacity. I have, half of the amount of employees. So what can you guys do? Contact your internet provider and say, hey, what can be done? What program? I need the internet service, but my business is suffering. Some of them might give you a 3-month deal, but just reach out to them now and try to renegotiate your terms and conditions. they are willing to help and assist. You just have to begin reaching out. And then I am now going to remind you guys that the next training that we have available is on Thursday, December 3rd at 12:30. And we are going to be going over on how to do business with the state and county, how to make sure you're familiarized with Maryland Business Express, how to make sure your business is in good standing, be part of the Montgomery County Central Vendor Registration. Those are some of the basic things that we are going to be going over, plus additional. And with that, this concludes the presentation. And now I will give some time for you guys to put your questions either on the chat so that we can start, so that I can start answering them. Thank you, and thanks for participating. Okay, so I will give a couple minutes. You guys can put the questions either in the chat, or you guys can unmute yourself and ask the questions live if that is easier.
Maria, I promoted you to a panelist so you can ask your question if you want to unmute yourself.
Are you talking to me, Maria Bruton?
Yes. Did you have your hand raised?
No, I didn't. Maybe it was a mistake. I was moving house.
Okay.
Sorry.
Oh, no worries.
Oh, but thank you. I appreciate, all the advice you had given me today. And this is really hard for me. I even was debating if I should take the grant or not. But at the end, I decided to take it. But because the problem is, for me, it's hard to find how to spend the money. That's my major problem, actually. Because, it's very conditional.
Yes.
So, but, that's why I'm trying to get all the advice I can. But, hopefully I will make it. Yeah, thank you very much for, choosing me to speak. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay.
Okay, next, Rena, I'm going to click allow to talk.
Are you hosting a meeting?
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Yes.
Great.
We can.
Nadia, thank you so much. Your presentation was very clear, and I'm so happy that I came. I work for the Montgomery County Child Care Resource and Referral Center, and we have a family child care series that we teach to get folks that are interested in family child care into the business. And I teach a professional module, and I would love to be able to use some of those documents as examples. So I see that they're on the website. Would that be okay? Are they for sharing purposes?
Yes, we're putting it on our website so that family childcare providers and childcare centers can utilize it and have it as a reference. We're also going to be putting the recording of this presentation there in case anyone that wasn't unable to attend, they can replay it.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
Okay, Jean, if you wanted to unmute yourself.
Okay. First of all, I wanted to ask, are there going to be any of these that are going to be geared toward more family centers as opposed to this was geared more towards the centers?
Yes, it is. And Frank, if you wouldn't mind jumping in, typically the Women Business Center and Ms. Marta Jimenez is here to support more the family childcare providers.
And And I've worked with Martha and she's awesome. I
Yeah.
wanted to tell Maria, that's who she needs to talk to. Maria, she helped me do my budget and showed me all the things that I was missing. So Maria, if you're still here, you need to talk to Martha Jimenez and she will walk you through. And if there's money you don't use, you can hand it back. It's not, you just won't have to pay taxes on it. So it's not a bad thing.
So just to add in, yes, I mean, we're happy to have family centers join us on these webinars, but the county asked us to really focus on the child care providers who were centers and the Women's Business Center to focus on the family care providers, because as you know, your needs are slightly different.
Definitely.
So please do contact Martha Jimenez, and she's providing one-on-one, and you know, if there's enough demand, she may be doing special courses as well. And then I just wanted to thank Rena for being on the phone call and for sharing these resources. We're really delighted. These are samples, these are templates. So please, you know, people do need to consult with accountants and lawyers if they have, you know, more technical questions. So, but we're really happy that you're here and we're really glad that you are providing resources to the community. Any other questions? Well, if there aren't any other questions, you can talk to Nadia one-on-one by making an appointment, and that information is on our website and also in this presentation, which will also be on the website. So feel free to reach out that way as well. And we thank you very much for coming to this webinar. And again, also just for the work you're doing. It's really